with insights and analysis of today's rapidly shifting world. Welcome to the Cindy Grosz Show, talk radio's premier Jewish woman activist, Cindy Grosz, featuring exclusive interviews with today's top newsmakers and trendsetters. And now, Cindy Grosz.
Hello and welcome to another show of the Cindy Grosz Show. I am your host, Cindy Grosz, talk radio's premier Jewish woman activist. And you don't have to be Jewish to be a part of our show, a part of our family. We bring the best of the Jewish world to the non-Jewish world and vice versa. Because when we work together, when we share, we all win. Welcome into my opening corner and to my opening pearls of wisdom. I want to talk to you about victories. We're not hearing much about victories, but I'll tell you who's actually getting a lot in the victory column these days, and that is Donald J. Trump. Everybody thought he was finished. Everybody said primaries were going to be his demise. Everybody said Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to be his demise. And people would never step up to primary congressmen and senators and other elected officials who voted with Democrats against the America First agenda. I remember clearly tweets from Donald Trump Jr., from many of the supporters of Donald Trump, his personal and business and political friends, who said, we are looking for patriots to step up and primary rhinos, Republicans in name only. I am so proud tonight to bring you one of the people who is not a career politician. He is a veteran. He is an NYPD detective. He won a Purple Heart. He is anything but a politician, but he is a grassroots patriot. His name is Mike Rakebrandt, and he is running in New York in one of the only seats guaranteed in New York to stay red. And that's not because of the local and state level officials. It's because the voters there vote according to the wisdom and words of Donald J. Trump. They vote for the policies of the 45th president. You are going to meet Mike tonight. You are going to love Mike. But these 13 congressmen who were pointed out for voting for infrastructure, this person, Mike Rakebrandt, is running against a congressman who's there one term, that's 2 years, and voted for the January 6th investigation. His voters in his district don't want him. That's very clear. Just come out and see what's going on. You don't even see state level signs on lawns. You see Trump flags everywhere. So I'm asking you to do me a favor. I want you to join the 22 for 2 campaign. We need $22 from each and every one of you to make sure that we eliminate one of the 13 rhinos. And I have to talk about my next guest, a very special guest following Mike, Dr. Ben Carson. What don't we love about the man? He's a leader in every kind of value we love. Family. You never hear Ben without candy, medicine, and health. He knew what was going on in the health industries and how to save lives way before COVID became a household name. And of course, what he has done for minorities as Secretary of Housing and HUD. Soft-spoken, intelligent. He is everything that the Democrats fear most in 2022 and 2024. So my words of wisdom are victory. Two guests tonight with us that stand with the biggest winner these days, who's going to probably end up winning the Triple Crown, like the surprise that we saw last week. Tell me what you think, and tell me if you are supporting Donald J. Trump's agenda and his endorsed candidates in primaries and elections in 2022.
Kosher CBD is a kosher certified CBD company with something for everyone. We have Star K and CRC of Williamsburg certified on all of our products. CBD is derived from the hemp plant. However, there are no psychoactive effects. Why use kosher CBD products over any other brands? Quality is key. We work with a factory that has a patented formula that creates the best gum that's most enjoyable to chew. Our CBD products are all made using U.S. grown organic pure hemp. It is purely and properly extracted and lab tested to ensure we are offering the best quality. We are proud of the research we put into sourcing the highest quality products. We have 4 product lines: CBD line with both gums and mints, Immunity Pack, gums and chewable tablets, Focus, an incredible product that combines CBD, caffeine, and theanine in the trifecta effect of focus, and Pure Full Spectrum CBD oils. We have 4 strengths so everyone can reap the benefits of CBD. Visit our website at koshercbd.com and our Instagram handle, KosherCBD Official. Use code Cindy10 to receive 10% off of your entire order.
Prairie Street Prime is revolutionizing the luxury kosher experience by delivering Star Case certified, USDA Prime, high choice, and dry aged kosher beef, veal, and lamb right to your door. With culinary excellence, education, and community at the heart of our mission, we're demystifying kosher cuisine and empowering our community with innovative recipes and chef-led tutorials that build confidence and foster fun in the kitchen. Our latest offering, dry-aged beef, takes luxury kosher cuisine to a whole new level. You can currently get all of our rib-based beef and briskets dry-aged, with additional products coming just in time for Passover. Each step in our process is thoughtfully curated and Star K approved to ensure your meat strictly adheres to kosher protocols. Order now at prairiestreetprime.com for delivery anywhere in the U.S. Find us on Instagram and enter our dry-age sweepstakes before Monday, April 4th, 2022 for a chance to win our 4-bone USDA Prime 28-day dry-aged prime rib or our USDA Prime 28-day dry-aged tomahawk. Prairie Street Prime is your luxury kosher experience.
You're listening to America's premier Jewish woman activist, Cindy Grosz. Welcome back, and get ready for more of Cindy's exclusive insights and analysis right here on The Cindy Grosz Show.
So, as I said in my opening, I am bringing you today one of the people who actually stood up and decided he is going to primary one of the 13 congressmen that voted for infrastructure, and that Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., as well as many of their supporters, retweeted and reshared on social media that they want to see gone. And Mike Rakebrandt, a veteran and NYPD detective, stood up as a first-time politician, had never thought about running for politics, and said, America is at risk, and I have to do something about it. So thank you so much for joining the Cindy Grosz Show. Full disclosure, I am working with the campaign. The campaign is paying for this segment so that Mike could be on and share. We just want to disclose it so that there is no question about who I am supporting and working with. Thank you so much for joining the Cindy Grosz Show.
Thank you, Cindy.
So let's be realistic here. New York is a mess. Primary season is now up in the air. We don't know what day, where, and who people are going to be in races for. But we do know one thing for sure. You are running in District 2, which is in mostly Suffolk County and Nassau County, which has a record the past couple of elections of having victories in the GOP in a blue state. And it looks like, however people are looking at the situations now regarding redistricting and lawsuits, your district won't be changed much. So we could probably say safely it would be a good bet that your seat will be red. You were running against a one-term congressman by the name of Andrew Garbarino, who has a 94% rating of being more Democratic than Republican, voting for the January 6th investigation, voting on infrastructure. And you're going to tell us so many other issues he voted against the America First agenda. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about why you are standing up to make sure that we fire one of the 13 rhinos.
I spent a significant part of my life in the military. I've lost a lot of friends overseas. I stood a lot of blue line funerals as a detective and cop in New York City. And it got to the point where I was watching all those sacrifices that were made getting just thrown away behind all the pandering and the virtue signaling. And then this individual, Andrew Garbarino, he stands up and he starts, voting along with the radical left on over 30% of the time. Every fiscal policy, funding illegals, the January 6th Commission, the infrastructure bill, AOC's Green New Deal elements, anything you could think of that he really shouldn't be as a Republican, even much less a conservative, voting on. This guy's voting for. So it just got to be awful too much. And I was like, all right, enough's enough.
You have quite an impressive resume. You are a veteran, you are an NYPD detective, and you are the recipient of a Purple Heart.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what is going on these days in New York with crime, because there is a myth that it is only happening in the 5 boroughs. Crime is all over the state in record numbers. What are you seeing?
Smash and grab robbery crews. So, sometimes dozens of people at a time, running into a particular store. A lot of the high end stores in Manhattan been hit. A lot of stores on Long Island, a lot of the outlets and malls getting hit. We have increases in every crime category going. Everything from auto theft to robbery to burglary to homicides. Everything is up across the state. It's not just a city. It's everywhere. Long Island's taking the brunt of it as well.
What are you telling your constituents, your grassroots supporters, and even not so grassroots, because you are getting endorsements from a lot of people behind the scenes working with you? What are you telling them to have your campaign resonate with voters?
We're just telling them it's time to fight back, that, it's time to take back your government. We have to take every seat from dog catcher to president if we want to see this tide turned, if we want to see things put back to the way they should be, put back to right. So telling them to get the word out, to go out and spread the word, to find other people willing to run. We've helped 4 people run for school board seats. We're helping people run for other positions. We're doing everything we can across the board to try and get our country back on track and take back from this insane narrative that's being pushed.
You mentioned school boards. I know you have been working a lot and they've been supporting you, the Moms for Liberty in Nassau County.
Yep.
And now is school board season.
Yes.
And of course, the radical left is so busy in their mainstream media lies talking about how school boards have become so politicized. They have been in a way, but it wasn't from the right that started it. It was from the teachings, the safety issues, the wasted money, the failures of grades and social promotion. So tell us a little bit why groups like Moms for Liberty and Nassau are supporting you.
Because it's about honesty. It's about actually bringing back school board accountability. So having these teachers unions and everybody else pushed out of the narrative and bringing in actual education, not just indoctrination. I think that everybody's fed up with all the CRT push, the sexual grooming of children in schools, all the insane nonsense that's being pushed by the left and by a lot of these leftist organizations, including the teachers union. So school boards are becoming more and more so-called right-leaning. I don't think it's so much right as it is just regular people saying enough with the indoctrination. Let's get back to education.
I think it has to do a lot also with common sense. And when parents went to try to voice opinions at school boards, they were arrested, they were harassed, they were bullied. You had the teachers union, Randy Weingarten, coming out and calling parents the instigators of war. I mean, this is crazy. This is our tax dollars. And you have young children yourself. So
Yeah.
it actually affects your own home
Sure.
and you feel it.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, look at the Justice Department declaring parents who are concerned about CRT as domestic terrorists. You've got the DHS with their so-called disinformation board or Ministry of Truth, whatever you want to call it, pushing their own nonsense narrative about how, people who don't exactly agree with everything the government says are somehow now spreading disinformation and with terrorists. It's insane. It has to stop. It's done. It's over.
So you're running against Andrew Garbarino, a nice enough guy. He has a little smile, whatever, quiet, not actually one of the big talkers on the Hill. He didn't come out of that freshman class like Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Madison Cawthorn. But you hear it, I hear it, and I'm not in the district. He is really not liked by voters. What are you hearing? And we don't want to be negative here, but we have to discuss facts. What are some of the facts you are hearing why people want him out?
Well, they're just very dissatisfied with his voting record. So here's somebody that was promoted as being a conservative and Republican candidate, the last time around in 2020. He gets voted in and immediately starts voting with the radical left on every policy decision. The January 6th committee, all kinds of Green New Deal stuff, the so-called infrastructure bill, which was nothing more than a progressive wish list, that had almost nothing to do with infrastructure. So he's voted with them consistently from day one, and it's gotten to be with the voters very, very, a very hot issue, to put it nicely. They're very unhappy with him and his performance. Very unhappy.
A lot of voters who are registered in your district are small business owners. And of course, I don't care what any mainstream media says. I think that when people go into the poll booths and they decide on candidates, they're not thinking about abortion and guns the way the left wants you to think. It's going to be about the price of bread, the ability to actually get baby food to new mothers, the price of gas, fertilizer is going up crazy. So we're going to see a lot of shortages come the spring. Come the fall. What are you hearing?
The same. Economy is crushing. So every small business owner I've spoken to across the board, every kind of business, I've spoken to many, it's the same thing. The supply chain issues, the inflation, driving prices up, production costs are extremely high. Gas is extremely high. Everything the Biden regime has done has been contrary to what common sense would tell you they should be doing to kind of address these issues. So to me, and I'll be honest, I think it's a man-made issue by the Biden regime just because it creates problems that they need in order to push an agenda that they want. And small business owners across the board, everybody I've talked to across the board about economy, they all think the same. And a lot of them are it's funny, but a lot of them actually are Democrat or at least Democrat leaning. And now they're starting to swing right, like very right. So it's definitely an interesting time.
When people vote on issues and common sense, and when they feel their own wallets affected, they don't care whether or not there's an R, a D, or an I. They want the person who is willing to talk with them, meet with them, and work with them. And 100%. That also goes the same for COVID issues. We are getting a lot of headlines now that the numbers around the country are increasing for COVID cases. There are a small increase in deaths. We did find out recently that the New York State Governor, Kathy Hochul, was diagnosed with it, and they are talking about in the city mask mandates again. You have been fairly outspoken in a very polite way about what you feel about mask mandates. Please share it with our audience.
I don't think mask mandates work, to be honest with you. I mean, masking is something that's done in a clinical setting when we have people who are actually trained for infection control. Overseas, everybody says, in Asia, they do it. But in Asia, the people wearing masks are only those having symptoms. People who feel actually sick, that have symptoms, that have to go out, they'll mask up. So they're not spreading their coughing and they're not spreading it to others. Healthy people don't wear masks. It's counterproductive. The mask becomes a reservoir for virus and bacteria all day. You're touching everything around you. You're touching the mask constantly. It becomes a reservoir. It's counterproductive. I think very counterproductive and not healthy at all.
Let me ask you another question. You are a veteran. Tell us a little bit about your experiences and then follow it up with what is going on around the world, because war is not just only going on in Ukraine. There are discussions about possible outbreaks other places.
Sure. So I spent about 9 years in the military, just over 9 years. So 2 years in submarine duty out of Pearl Harbor, and then the rest of my time was spent with the Marine Corps as a Navy corpsman. I've deployed into combat zones. I was wounded in combat. I treated thousands of injured and wounded, both civilian and military. The realities of war, I think, are not quite what people think they are, and I think it's not like the movies. It's not what people think it is. It's pretty horrific. As far as Ukraine is concerned, Ukraine is tough because there's a lot of history there that goes kind of behind what's happening there. So those regions in Ukraine that are so-called, in dispute, the separatist regions, Crimea, Donetsk, those types of regions, they're ethnically Russian regions. They're Russian speaking. They're ethnically Russian. They were just made part of Ukraine by Khrushchev in the 50s. So the fact that they're trying to break away and go back to the Russian Federation is not surprising. Couple that with the fact that NATO has been encroaching in the Baltic states since the late 90s, and Russia's been opposed to this since the late 90s. I think this is just the culmination of decades of just mismanagement and not enough diplomacy in the area. It could have been handled much better. The Biden regime dropped the ball and allowed for this to turn into the full-on, full-out war it's become. Beyond that, we have civil wars in Yemen right now still going, where Saudi Arabia, was involved in that, and we're kind of funding in the back end Saudi Arabia with that war. That's that's destabilizing for the region, and I think it's maybe a bit dangerous for our allies in Israel, just because if it spreads from there, it can endanger the Israeli state. There's just quite a bit of hotspots in the world it's just not being addressed by this administration. I think our current Secretary of State is kind of a hot mess and doesn't really have a very good beat on anything going on overseas.
So a lot of your supporters are Donald Trump supporters as well.
Yeah.
And what do you hear from them about what they want in 2024?
They want him to run. They do. I mean, I think that the vast majority of people I know want him to run. I hear Ron DeSantis mentioned a lot. I do. But I hear his name most often as the VP, and then, the president after that. But I think a lot of people honestly feel like Donald Trump got, the election stolen from him in 2020. I'd agree. And then he deserves his second term. And they want to see him have his second term so he can kind of clean up the mess. And then have Ron DeSantis come in behind and be the president for the next 2 terms after that, to kind of continue this trend back to solvency and stability.
And like I said, you have a young child. You have more than one, actually. And education, I think, is going to be the third biggest issue behind the economy and security and safety.
Sure.
What are your thoughts about what you would like to do as a congressman on the floor of the Capitol in regards to legislation and education?
I'd like to see education put back at the forefront. I want to see the Federal Board of Education. I want to see it dissolved. I think it's been a priority since Reagan was president to get rid of it. Carter put it in against the Constitution. He installed it anyway, even though he was really not supposed to. It's been around for that number of years, and all it's done is serve to push the agendas of whatever regime is in power at the time, and it's served no real purpose. It hasn't helped children. It's actually decreased our ability to educate our children. I want to see education return back to the states the way it should be. And then beyond that, I want to see school choice, charter schools and school choice. But that way parents have the ability to say, you know what, we don't care for what's being taught at this school. We're moving our child to this school, and the money should follow the child. And that's it. Just that simple.
We have to talk about the mess in New York right now, because we are experiencing something that a lot of people around the country are in, and that is this crazy change in congressional seats. I talk about the Democratic meandering that was illegal. I'm sorry, gerrymandering. Thank you. That was basically illegal. And we are going to have maybe 1, possibly 2 primaries. We might have to go back to getting signatures again to get on the ballot. We have a gubernatorial race with 4 people in a primary. We have a senatorial race that no one virtually knows there is a Republican running. Same with Attorney General, same with Comptroller. What do you tell people as a Republican running in New York?
Well, tell them they got to keep up with it. I mean, if gerrymandering was awful, right? So we have a constitutional amendment in New York that was passed after the last round of map drawing because there was so much gerrymandered map going on. So now that it's back in the court again, the courts will actually redraw the lines again, and it'll get set that way. And then we'll have two primaries as of right now. June 28th will be the gubernatorial, Senate, things of that nature, primaries. And then we'll have August 23rd, which will be the congressional and state Senate district primaries. So it's kind of a hot mess right now. I tell people, to pay attention, honestly, go out and research your candidates, go look and see who's running in those races. Look at their history, look at their records, look at what they're saying and where they've been, look at their experience level and what they bring to the table, make an informed decision, because without that, we're going to get the same old clowns coming in and destroying everything that's going on that we need.
So our listeners, I'm getting a couple of questions. And first of all, they want to know where they could reach out to you, where they could donate, how they could help out the campaign if they're not in your district or even in New York, whether or not it's helping us with phones, social media, etc.
Sure. They reach out to the website. It's www.MikeRakebrandtforcongress.com. The last name is Rakebranddt. It's a long one.
And like we say, no more Rhino Garbarino. And we're having a 22 for 2 campaign. Tell us a little bit about the 22 for 2 campaign.
Well, 22 for 2 is just $22 to the campaign to help us kind of grow, help us keep going forward, help us keep funding all the necessary things that go on with this. We're going to have to probably canvass again. There's quite a few other things that have to be done. It gets very expensive. So 22 for 2 is $22 to help us take over District 2 and put it back on the map as far as actual conservative leadership again.
Mike Rakebrandt, thank you so much for joining the Cindy Grosz Show. Like I said at the beginning of this, I am working with you. I am waiting to share with you victory, and your campaign did sponsor this spot. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Cindy.
Kosher CBD is a kosher certified CBD company with something for everyone. We have Star K and CRC of Williamsburg certified on all of our products. CBD is derived from the hemp plant. However, there are no psychoactive effects. Why use kosher CBD products over any other brands? Quality is key. We work with a factory that has a patented formula that creates the best gum that's most enjoyable to chew. Our CBD products are all made using U.S. grown organic pure hemp. It is purely and properly extracted and lab tested to ensure we are offering the best quality. We are proud of the research we put into sourcing the highest quality products. We have 4 product lines: CBD line with both gums and mints, Immunity Pack, gums and chewable tablets, Focus, an incredible product that combines CBD, caffeine, and theanine in the trifecta effect of focus, and Pure Full Spectrum CBD oils. We have 4 strengths so everyone can reap the benefits of CBD. Visit our website at koshercbd.com and our Instagram handle, KosherCBD Official. Use code Cindy10 to receive 10% off of your entire order.
Our next guest needs really no introduction, but then again, he needs such a big introduction and a debt of gratitude from all of us for all the work he has done for the Republican and conservative movements. He has a brand new book. I'm very honored to have Dr. Ben Carson on the Cindy Grosz Show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So right now, we are living in times that every day seems to be another historic day. And you are no stranger to politics. And we really would like to know some of your insights to what is going on, for example, with the leak coming from the Supreme Court.
Well, you have a group of people who believe that they are righteous and that they are right and that they can do anything because their cause is so righteous. They have really the same kind of philosophy as the jihadists do. Therefore, they can do no wrong in their eyes. And to shatter a tradition of not leaking Supreme Court documents because they believe that their cause is righteous, it's abominable. And, it is, however, we have to look at the other side. It's wonderful that we potentially have a chance to put decision-making about life and the preservation of life back in the hands of the people who are voted for, not for judges who have no obligation to the general populace. And by making it a state and local level decision, I think it's the right thing.
So I think it's really interesting that watching the news, if you watch the Democrats, especially the Black Democrats, they're making this a race issue, which totally ties into the name of your brand new book, Created Equal. And you talk about the painful past, and you also look at the hopeful future of race in America. And I can't think of anything that is more important to talk about the hopeful future than about the quality of life. And when we talk about the quality of life, we can't have you not be here and talk about all the work you've done in the Trump administration for 45 and hopefully again for 47, especially with housing and HUD. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, what's happened in our society is that people are using all kinds of wedge issues to divide our population: race, gender, age, income, religion, political affiliation, to divide us. And I think it's being very, very detrimental. So I really want people to see what's going on in terms of what has really happened with race relations in this country. The left wants you to believe that we haven't really made any significant progress, that we have a systemically racist society that holds certain people down. Well, when I was a kid, and a Black person came on television in a non-servile role, it was a big deal. Everybody came in to watch. And now you have Black admirals and generals and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and heads of foundations. And we've had a Black president elected twice with a Black vice president. It goes on and on and on. It's ridiculous to say we haven't made progress. Is everything fair? Have we reached nirvana? Absolutely not. But we should build our future on the progress that we've made, not on the mistakes that have been made. And America is not uniquely evil for slavery. Slavery has been around for as long as we've had written history. You go back to the Bible and you see how the children of Israel were enslaved by the Egyptians. You know, there is nothing good about slavery, nothing good to be said about slavery, quite frankly. But we are not unique in having had it. Perhaps the unique factor comes in that we had so many people who were adamantly opposed to it. We were willing to fight a bloody civil war to get rid of it. That's what's unique. That's what we need to concentrate on, building our future on the right kinds of things.
I couldn't agree with you more. And we've had on the show many Republicans who are Black, who are running on local, state, and national levels. It seems to be a record number of Blacks running. What do you say to that? Because to me, that is the best sign of a hopeful future, that people are starting to wake up and they're not automatically voting Democrat, especially in minorities.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing to see. I know many of these individuals, and I know their heart. And I'm very glad to have some company, to be honest, because, you know, for the left, the only thing that's worse than Satan is a Black conservative, you know, and it's really, you want to talk about systemic racism. That is the most racist thing, that they believe that they have the right to determine how a Black person should think. That is absolutely racist. And one of the most racist statements I ever heard was when Joe Biden said, you know, if you have trouble deciding between me and Trump, you ain't Black. How does he have the right to determine whether you're Black or not? I mean, that is just beyond belief, racist material.
So here's something you don't know about me, that I am in the longest running lawsuit against Randy Weingarten and the New York City Department of Education as a whistleblower, because I saw how minority students and even the minority staff there treated each other and how they were promoting failure to the Black community. In fact, parents are starting to speak up about it. I think education is going to be one of the top 3 issues in 2022 elections, and I think in 2024. And I'm sure that you have a lot to say about this, because I am starting to
Oh, yeah.
see Black parents fighting whether or not they're even starting lawsuits. They're all calling me because of my lawsuit. I wasn't afraid to speak up and lose my job over it. And it's very important.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that. There's a chapter in a book called Education, the Great Equalizer. It really doesn't matter what your background is in this country. If you get a good education, you write your own ticket. And we talk a lot in this country about the wealth gap, 5 to 10 times greater incomes for whites than there is for Blacks, or wealth accumulation. But if you look at certain Blacks, like Nigerians, Ghanaians, there's no wealth gap. But what do you notice about those families? You go to a Nigerian family, you will notice that a bachelor's degree is the baseline. That's where you start. And there's a tremendous emphasis on family and family structure. And if you look at typical Black American families that emphasize those things, education and family structure, there's no wealth gap. So perhaps we're looking at the wrong thing if we want to blame everything on racism. Maybe we ought to look a little deeper into what is causing some of these problems and try to rectify those things.
Well, in the classrooms, they are trying to rewrite the Black Jewish history as that we all hate each other and that we've never worked together. And this is another project I am working on. We're going to have a big announcement very soon. But I know how you feel about Judeo-Christian values, the state of Israel, and Black-Jewish relations.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you see as the future of rebuilding the relationship, because what the Democrats are doing is really trying to build civil war among our groups.
Well, that's their modus operandi, divide and conquer. During the civil rights movement, we had very strong relationships between the Jewish community and the Black community. And a lot of Jews were involved and got beaten, and some were even killed, fighting for the civil rights. And, that's been all kind of shoved under the rug and buried. And, when you look at the Jewish culture, you look at their history, you look at the persecution, the things that have happened, and how people have tried to downplay it, hide it, deny it, all the same kinds of things that are happening. So, these are two groups that have had very similar past, and I think it's a natural coalition.
Tell us a little bit about the work you're doing with the American Cornerstone Institute.
The American Cornerstone Institute was developed as a think tank / do tank. We don't just like to think, we like to actually get things done and focus on those cornerstone principles that made America great. That would be our faith. Our Judeo-Christian values teach us to love your neighbor, not to cancel your neighbor if you disagree with them. That is nothing but pure evil. And then liberty. America has been the beacon of liberty for people throughout the world. And then community, the ability to work together, even if you have different backgrounds. That's one of the things that gave us the strong fabric to be able to defeat the Nazis in World War II. Mm-hmm. And then life, respect for life from the womb to the tomb. And, the quality of life that people have, compassionate people do that. And then we have a Little Patriots program that concentrates on the children, making sure that they have the appropriate foundation. The Bible says in Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he'll not depart from it. We understand that. Our enemies understand that too. It was Vladimir Lenin who said, give me your children to teach for 4 years, and the seed that I sow will never be uprooted. But we need to take advantage of that early childhood time when they soak up information like sponges. Don't just stand around and complain about what the left is doing. So important.
A couple more quick questions. First of all, you were one of the first to step aside in the presidential race candidacy in 2015, support the president. You went through his administration with him. You won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. What is your relationship these days with the president?
Very good, actually. In fact, he's going to be the keynote speaker at our Founders Day dinner in September. He and I philosophically are peas in a pod. We have very different personalities, though.
Yes. Well, everybody is talking that, they were using the test of the endorsements for the demise of Trump. And we have seen in recent primaries that I think that's everything but the truth. I think there's a very big disconnect between county leaderships, state leaderships, and the actual voters. And I think that there's a good chance he'll be 47 again. And if so, would you work with him towards that and be a part of that administration?
I will always do what the Lord wants me to do. But Trump is hated so much, not only by Democrats, but by a lot of Republicans, because he doesn't play their games. They call it the swamp in Washington. I call it the cesspool. It is really bad. And they really hate anybody who won't go along with their games. And he absolutely does not. And he absolutely needs to be destroyed according to them for that reason. But I think a lot of the people are seeing that. And there may be some surprises coming down the pike here.
I think so. I just see, even in New York, where they weren't even allowed to mention his name at the Republican convention, the people that are coming out strongest to vote, building up the grassroots rallies and support and donating for the first time are the Trumpers. It's amazing. You're here to discuss the book. Any last thoughts about Created Equal? It's out by Simon & Schuster, and it's available in all bookstores. Please tell us your last thoughts about the book that we should walk away from reading and what we could do to help support the cause.
Well, I think when you finish reading this book, you'll be very impressed that we, the American people, get to decide on our future. We get to decide, do we want to build our future on past failings, or do we want to build our future on magnificent successes? And that we, the American people, are not each other's enemies, and that we should absolutely refuse to allow the purveyors of hatred and division to succeed.
And this book is not just for people concerned in the minority communities. This is for everybody. It's the idea of joining together. Issues are nonpartisan. Issues don't discriminate. Success doesn't discriminate. Success is for everybody. And Dr. Ben Carson, we thank you for your service. We thank you for joining the Cindy Grosz Show. One more time, where can our listeners reach out to you?
AmericanCornerstone.org. And if you have children, go to littlepatriotslearning.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Grosz Show.
Thank you so much for being a patriot.
Kosher CBD is a kosher certified CBD company with something for everyone. We have Star K and CRC of Williamsburg certified on all of our products. CBD is derived from the hemp plant. However, there are no psychoactive effects. Why use kosher CBD products over any other brands? Quality is key. We work with a factory that has a patented formula that creates the best gum that's most enjoyable to chew. Our CBD products are all made using U.S. grown organic pure hemp. It is purely and properly extracted and lab tested to ensure we are offering the best quality. We are proud of the research we put into sourcing the highest quality products. We have 4 product lines: CBD line with both gums and mints, Immunity Pack, gums and chewable tablets, Focus, an incredible product that combines CBD, caffeine, and theanine in the trifecta effect of focus, and Pure Full Spectrum CBD oils. We have 4 strengths so everyone can reap the benefits of CBD. Visit our website at koshercbd.com and our Instagram handle, KosherCBD Official. Use code Cindy10 to receive 10% off of your entire order.
Prairie Street Prime is revolutionizing the luxury kosher experience by delivering Star Case certified, USDA Prime, high choice, and dry aged kosher beef, veal, and lamb right to your door. With culinary excellence, education, and community at the heart of our mission, we're demystifying kosher cuisine and empowering our community with innovative recipes and chef-led tutorials that build confidence and foster fun in the kitchen. Our latest offering, Dry Aged Beef, takes luxury kosher cuisine to a whole new level. You can currently get all of our rib-based beef and and briskets dry aged, with additional products coming just in time for Passover. Each step in our process is thoughtfully curated and Star K approved to ensure your meat strictly adheres to kosher protocols. Order now at prairiestreetprime.com for delivery anywhere in the U.S. Find us on Instagram and enter our dry age sweepstakes before Monday, April 4th, 2022 for a chance to win our 4-bone USDA Prime 28-day dry aged prime rib or our USDA Prime 28-day dry aged tomahawk. Prairie Street Prime is your luxury kosher experience.
You're listening to America's premier Jewish woman activist, Cindy Grosz. Welcome back, and get ready for more of Cindy's exclusive insights and analysis right here on The Cindy Grosz Show.
Welcome back. Starting today, we're going to have a new feature on the show called You Don't Have to Be Jewish with Cindy, featuring headlines and or trends that Jews are talking about, but so are our friends in the non-Jewish community. This week, I take my topic from the headlines from the fashion world. There is a war going on right now. It's called Met Gala versus high school proms. Once again, the left is trying to hijack the future of our children's social lives by mandating masks in New York for high school proms. Now, I can tell you, as a parent of a private school student and as a former public school teacher, proms are an essential part of ending the school year for many students in both school environments. Who can forget buying their prom dress or tuxedo, thinking about planning a carefully exciting night, going to the right after parties? Of course, in the days I went to proms, we had corsages and we bought boutonnieres for our dates. I still have the souvenirs that they gave out, the party favors from the proms I went to decades ago. This year's Met Gala had a very fun, glamorous theme, which is the trend in fashion right now, glamour. Even though most of those celebrities and attendees did not get that memo to dress like the Gilded Age, I can tell you that I know that people enjoyed, including myself, watching people get dressed up. The biggest discussions the day after were how many people wore glorious, glamorous jewels, higher heels, a back more than ever before, and all luxurious materials on flowing long gowns. Well, that trend has been transpiring into our high school and junior high school proms. Local newspapers where I live, I'm talking about Maine newspapers, have been featuring mothers and daughters, sisters and friends going prom shopping, and they are picking out gorgeous black tie inspired gowns. They want to dress up. They've been stuck in their houses for over 2 years because of the pandemic. We know that. So the same people, including Mayor Eric Adams, who went to the Met Gala, was so excited about it and dressed in a custom tuxedo promoting to end gun violence. What a hypocrite. Mayor Adams, who is demanding to continue mayoral control of our failing New York City Department of Education schools. Mayor Eric Adams, who professes that he wants to expand charter schools, but has done nothing to promote the CRT curriculum ending in classrooms, has decided to work with the teachers' unions and demand that students wear masks to their proms. I'm sure you all want to have your prom pictures of expensive, glamorous evening wear and a mask. Let's face it, the left wants nothing more than to destroy America's future. And the best way they can do it is by indoctrinating the young. It's okay if you are in Hollywood or in fashion to dress up, sit at a table, eat food, share wines, kiss and hug, take photos, Photoshop them. But it is not safe for the taxpayers that put you in your place of influence, those that buy your products, to have the same evening entertainment that you want so badly. It's okay for you to be in newspapers and magazines and all over social media, looking their very best, but it's not okay for our junior and high school students. Think about that. You don't have to be Jewish to appreciate my thoughts. Tell me what you think and share it with me through my social media and through my website. We'll be back shortly.
Kosher CBD is a kosher certified CBD company with something for everyone. We have Star K and CRC of Williamsburg certified on all of our products. CBD is derived from the hemp plant. However, there are no psychoactive effects. Why use kosher CBD products over any other brands? Quality is key. We work with a factory that has a patented formula that creates the best gum that's most enjoyable to chew. Our CBD products are all made using U.S. grown organic pure hemp. It is purely and properly extracted and lab tested to ensure we are offering the best quality. We are proud of the research we put into sourcing the highest quality products. We have 4 product lines: CBD line with both gums and mints, Immunity Pack, gums and chewable tablets, Focus, an incredible product that combines CBD, caffeine, and theanine in the trifecta effect of focus, and Pure Full Spectrum CBD oils. We have 4 strengths so everyone can reap the benefits of CBD. Visit our website at koshercbd.com and our Instagram handle, Kosher CBD Official. Use code Cindy10 to receive 10% off of your entire order.
And just like that, the show is almost over. And I don't even know how to end a show after having such an incredible guest like Dr. Ben Carson, except to say that in my closing pearls of wisdom, I'm asking for your pearls of wisdom because I don't know how to move forward in this question. There are many in the mainstream media sharing that COVID is coming back, and it's going to be coming back in a very severe way come the end of the summer and early fall. Of course, in time for a lot of primaries and elections. My question to you is, how are you going to respond? Because I am asked that question all the time. Are you going to follow mask mandates? Are you going to allow your students to go to schools? Are you going out to vote? How will another wave of COVID affect you at the grocery stores, at the gas stations, in the food supply chains? Because there's big talk that along with that COVID wave, there's going to be a shortage of lots of food due to the shortage of fertilizer. And can common sense Democrats and common sense Republicans come together and fix our country? It's for our own health. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining today's Cindy Grosz Show. America's premier Jewish woman activist. Be sure to download Cindy's next show, as well as previous ones, available internationally on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and in Israel on Jewish podcasts. See you next time on The Cindy Grosz Show.